these root locus branches. So example number 2, for a transfer function g of s into h of s, so open loop transfer function only, is equal to k into s plus 2 into s plus 6 divided by s into s plus 4 plus s plus 8. So you need to plot the root locus for this. So first, to draw the pole locations and zero locations. So one pole is exist at origin, then 1 0 is there at -2, then one pole at -4, 1 0 at -6, and then one pole at -8. Okay, so you can draw this root locus on graph paper also if you want accurate root locus. Okay, so tell me, can you tell me where root locus branch exists, the points? Okay, so between 0 to -2, is there any root locus branch? Between 0 to -2? Can you tell me? Yes, there exists a root locus branch, because if we consider this point, right hand side of that point will be only having one pole, that is odd number of poles. So it will start from this pole and it will end at this 0. So this is a root locus branch. Okay, then it will exist between -4 to 6, right? Because if you consider this point, right hand side, there are odd number of poles and zeros, right? So it will start from -4, it will end at -6. So this is also one root locus branch. And if you see this, so here for a pole at -8, there exists a 0 at infinity, because there are 3 poles and only 2 zeros are there. Okay, so this root locus branch will start from -8 and it will end at infinity. Okay, so as we know that when at pole the gain is 0, at 0 gain is infinity. So k is equal to 0, k is equal to infinity, like this way. So in such a way you can draw the root locus branches. Okay, you can plot the root locus. You just need to apply rule number 3 and just need to plot that. Okay, so let us consider rule number 4. Now if you see this third pole, that is at -8, right? Okay, and that pole meets the 0 which is placed at s is equal to infinity. Okay, so whatever this root locus branch is, this root locus branch follows the asymptote. Okay, so when there are when root locus branch terminate at infinity, so that branch follows the asymptote. So I will just use another color. So that asymptote will start from this -8, will end at infinity. Okay, so now this root locus branch will follow that asymptote. Okay, rule number 4 is related to that. So what is the rule number 4? In root locus, p minus z branches. Okay, so p is the number of poles and z is the number of zeros. Okay, terminate at infinity and they approach the infinity along the asymptotes. Okay, and whose angle is given by theta is equal to 2n plus 1 into pi divided by p minus z mod. Okay, so this will give us the angle of asymptote, and where n is 0 to p minus z minus 1. Okay, So it is depend on how many zeros exist at infinity. It is depend on that. And asymptote will show the direction where those zeros are located. Infinite zeros are located. Okay. So when we take a problem, this rule will be clear. So the case number 1, when the pole zero difference is 1 and the number of poles are greater than number of zeros by 1. So in that case, only one asymptote will be there. And what is the angle of that asymptote? If you put this particular n is equal to 0 in this formula angle of asymptote, you will get pi. So in this root locus, you can see that the angle of this asymptote, here what? There are 3 poles and two zeros. So difference between pole and zero is only 1. So here you can see this this asymptote angle is 180 degree. Okay, this asymptote angle is 180 degree. So this is a case 1. This example belongs to case 1. So where difference between pole and zero is 1. So angle of that asymptote is pi. The case 2, when the difference between number of poles and zero is equal to 2. So in this case, there will be two asymptotes, okay? Because there will be two zeros at infinity. There will be two zeros at infinity, right? So, and those zeros direction will be given by asymptote. So one asymptote will be having the angle pi by 2. Another asymptote will be having the angle 3 pi by 2. Okay. And n will vary from 0 to 1. So for theta 1, n will be equal to 0. And for theta 2, n will be equal to 1. We have just used this formula. If we take a case 3, when the difference between pole and zero is 3, so there will be 3 asymptotes. Okay, an angle of those asymptotes will be pi by 3, pi, and 5 pi by 3. Okay, so this angle of asymptotes this asymptote will show us that where the zeros exist at infinity. Okay, so that direction will be given by the asymptotes. Now, when there are more than two asymptotes or more than one asymptotes, there will be a centroid. Okay, so the asymptotes meet at a point called as a centroid. So how to find out that centroid? For example, in case number 2 and in case number 3. In case number 2, there are two poles. So they will, there are two asymptotes in case number 2. So those two asymptotes will meet at some point, and that point will call as a centroid. Similarly, in case 3, there are 3 asymptotes, so they will meet at some point, and that point is called as a centroid. So how to find out that centroid? So centroid is equal to, you just need to do the summation of real part of poles minus summation of real part of zeros divided by pole minus zeros, number of poles minus zeros. Okay. So let us see one example. So you will get to know how to find out the angle of asymptotes and centroid. This is the example number 1. Here characteristic equation is given s cube plus 5s square plus k plus 6 into s plus k is equal to 0. Okay, and you need to find out the angle of asymptote and centroid. Just a minute. Okay, so this is a closed loop transfer function given. As we know that we find out the root locus of open loop transfer function. So this is a characteristic equation is given. So that is 1 plus g of s to h of s is equal to 0. So we need to find out the open loop transfer function. They have given us the characteristic equation. So what is the open loop transfer function? So this is the open loop transfer function. So we just need to simplify that characteristic equation. Okay, so okay, so here we get a g of s into h of s. So what is the g of s into h of s? This. Okay. So now if you see this, there are 3 poles and 1 0. So number of poles is equal to 3, number of zeros equal to 1. Okay. So number of branches terminating at infinity will be number of branches terminating at infinity will be pole minus 0, 3 minus 1, 2. Okay. So now we need to find out the angle of asymptotes. So there will be 2 asymptotes, right? Number of branches terminating at infinity. So angle of asymptote. So that is given by 2n plus 1 divided by difference between pole and 0 into 180. So n will vary from 0 to 1. So for theta of 1, n will be 0. So that will be, this is like this. Okay. So that will be 180 divided by 2, 90. And theta 2 will be 270. So these are the angle of asymptotes. Okay. So this is the way to find out the angle of asymptotes. Now centroid. So to calculate the centroid, as we know that centroid is equal to summation of real part of poles minus summation of real part of zeros. So here real part of pole is minus 3, minus 2. Then real part of 0 is minus 1. So minus 1 divided by pole minus 0. That is a 2. This will be minus 4 by 2. So centroid will be minus 2. So this is the way to find out the angle of asymptotes and centroids. Okay. So here they have given the closed loop, the characteristic equation, but we apply the root locus only on the open loop transfer function. So first we need to find out this open loop transfer function, and then we will apply those rules. Okay. To find out the angle of asymptotes and centroid. Okay, have you understood how to calculate angle of asymptote and centroid? Can we proceed? Hello? Can we proceed? Do you have any doubt? You can ask me here if you have any doubt here. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can we proceed? Do you have any doubt here? Okay. When we will take a problem now on overall root locus finding, you will get what is asymptote and what is centroid clearly. Okay, the rule number 6 is related to the breakpoint. Okay, so breakpoint is a point where root locus branches intersect. Okay, so where multiple poles are there, multiple closed loop poles meet. Okay, so where root locus branches are intersect. That is called as a breakpoint. So how to find out the breakpoint? So we have seen some root locus before. So there may be a breakpoint. Here you can see. So here you can see these two are poles, right? Okay, and between these two poles, when as you increase the value of k, what will happen? These open loop poles will move towards the open loop zeros. Okay, so before leaving the real axis, before leaving the real axis, they will meet at one point on real axis, and that point is called as a break point. Okay, because as we know that root locus branch start from open loop pole and end at open loop 0 only, but here there are two poles only, so they need to meet at open loop 0, which is placed at s is equal to infinity, because only there are three finite poles and no finite zeros are there in this. So that point is called as a breakpoint. Okay, so how to find out the breakpoint? First, we need to form the characteristic equation in terms of k. Okay, then we need to take a differentiation with respect to s of that equation, and we need to find out the value of s. Okay, and if we get a value of s, we need to find out that is it a valid value of s or not, breakpoint or not. Okay, so if breakpoint lies on a root locus, that is a valid breakpoint. If it doesn't lie on a root locus, it is an invalid breakpoint. Okay, so breakpoint should exist on a root locus only, because what is a breakpoint? Where two or more root locus branches meet. So breakpoint should lie on a root locus. Okay, centroid may or may not lie on a root locus, but breakpoint should lie on a root locus. What is a centroid? Where asymptote meets, right? And what is asymptote? It shows the direction where the zero exists at infinity. Okay, direction of that. So let us consider one problem, so you will understand rule 5 and rule 6 clearly. So unity feedback transfer function, which is having the forward path gain g of s is equal to k upon s into s plus 2, and we need to plot the root locus for this. So what is the rule number 2? So rule number 2 is we need to find out the number of branches terminating at infinity. So first we need to consider the open loop transfer function. So that is a g of s into h of s. So g of s is given and h of s is 1 because unity feedback is there. No? So this will be g of s. So that is a k into s, k upon s into s plus 2. So first rule number 2 is what? We need to find out the number of branches terminating at infinity. Number of branches terminating at infinity, that is equal to number of poles minus number of zeros, number of open loop poles minus number of open loop zeros. So here number of poles are 2, number of open loop zeros are 0. Okay, so what is the difference between them? 2, right? Then rule 3, we need to find out the real axis root locus branches. Okay, so there are two poles, one at origin, right, and one at -2. And here exists a root locus branch because it is following the rule 3. So I will use this green color, blue color. So here exists a root locus branch. Okay. Now rule 4 is what? You need to find out the angle of asymptotes. So how many asymptotes are there? 2. because there exist two infinite zeros. Okay, so rule 4. So here I will angle of asymptotes. Okay, that is equal to 2n plus 1 difference between pole and number of poles and zeros into 180 degree. So here n will vary from 0 to 1. So theta 1, where n is equal to 0, will be 180 degree by 2, so that will be 90 degree, and theta 2 will be 270 degree. Okay, then rule 5, we need to find out centroid where two asymptotes meet. So centroid is equal to summation of real part of poles minus summation of real part of zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. So what is the summation of real part of pole? That is a minus 2, and there is a no 0, so we just consider it 0. Pole minus 0 is equal to 2, so centroid will be at minus 1. Okay, now we need to find out a break point, rule 6. So how to find out a breakpoint? First, form the characteristic equation in terms of k. So what is that? 1 plus k into s plus 2 is equal to 0. So k upon s into s plus 2 is equal to minus 1. So k will be minus s into s plus 2. So you just need to take a differentiation of k with respect to s. So that will be s square minus 2s, okay, is equal to 0. So s will be equal to minus 1. Okay, so breakpoint. So now we found the value of s. Okay, by differentiating k with respect to s. Okay, so that is a minus 1. So whether it is valid breakpoint or not, that we need to find out. So minus 1. So minus 1 exists here, right? So it is on root locus branch. So this is a valid breakpoint. This is a valid breakpoint. Okay. So we just find it out. The breakpoint, centroid, angle of asymptotes. Okay. So let us draw the root locus. The entire root locus. Okay. So now 20 degree. So I will just draw the asymptote. This angle will be 90 degree and this angle will be 270 degree. Okay, and it is going where infinite zero exists. Similarly, this branch will go where infinite zero will exist. Open loop 0. Okay, and what is a breakpoint? A breakpoint is minus 1. So what is the meaning of that? So this pole open loop pole -2 and this open loop pole 0 will meet at -1, okay, and they will leave the real axis branch there, okay. So here one pole will go like this and one will go like this, okay. So here k is equal to 0 and here at this pole k is equal to 0 only, okay. Now these poles are closed loop poles are going to infinity, okay, where open loop 0 exists, right? So this blue color whatever you are saying now, these are the root locus branches, okay. And this point is called as a -1 point. This point is called as a breakaway point, okay, because these branches are going away from the real axis. So this is called as a breakaway point, okay. Have you understood how to draw the root locus? Any doubt here? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Have you understood how to draw the root locus? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ठीक है. So let us move to the next problem, that is example number 2. So here also unity feedback system is given with open loop transfer function k upon s plus 1 raised to 4 and we need to plot the root locus, okay. So same, first we will apply rule 2, number of branches terminating at infinity is equal to number of poles minus zeros, so that will be 4. Then rule 3, just form the real axis root locus branches. So there are repeated poles at -1 location, okay, 4 repeated poles, 2, 3, 4 at -1 location, sorry, at -1 location, right? Then rule 4, angle of asymptotes. So angle of asymptote will be (2n+1) upon pole -0 mod to 180 degree. So n will vary from 0, 1, 2, 3 because there are 4 asymptotes, right? Number of branches terminating at infinity. So theta 1 will be 180 degree divided by 4, 45. Theta 2 will be, theta 2 will be 135. Theta 3 will be 225 and theta 4 will be, so here n is equal to 0, here n is equal to 1, here n is equal to 2 and here n is equal to 3, okay. So that thing is there. Then here 350, okay. So and we need to see that where this asymptote meets. So here if you see, here we have find centroid -1. So in the previous example, so here asymptotes are meeting at -1 only here, okay, at -1 point. Similarly, we need to find out the centroid for these asymptotes. So centroid will be real part of zeros minus real part of pole minus real part of zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. So that will be minus 4 divided by 4. So that will be minus 1. Then rule 6. We need to find out the breakpoint. So to find out the breakpoint, we need to form the characteristic equation. So that is 1 plus k upon s plus 1 raised to 4 equal to 0. So this will be k will be, and then you take a differentiation with respect to s and equate to the 0. Okay, so we found the breakpoints minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So here you can see, is it a valid breakpoint? Okay, so here you can see that all the poles are exist at minus 1 only. So if you look from, so that is a valid breakpoint because all exist at that point only. So it is a valid breakpoint. Okay. Now let us draw the roof locus by using angle of asymptotes by drawing the asymptotes. Okay. So now what is the angle of asymptotes? 45 degree, 135 degree, 225 and 315. Okay. And what is centroid? Minus 1, where asymptote meets. So here there are poles at minus 1 and centroid also is there only minus 1. So we just form the asymptotes, which we just draw the asymptotes. Okay, so this angle will be 45. So this angle will be 45 degree. This angle will be 135. Okay, so like that way, 4 asymptotes are drawn. Okay. Now here you can see that a breakpoint is also minus 1. So what is the meaning of breakpoint? Where all the poles are leaving the root local, all the poles are leaving the real axis. Okay. So what will happen? So what will happen here? Here you can see all poles are exist at minus 1, and what is the asymptote? They are showing the direction where the infinite open loop zeros exist. Okay, at infinity location. Okay, at s is equal to infinity. So all these 4 poles will follow these asymptotes and will meet open loop 0 at infinity. Okay, so one pole will follow this asymptote, another pole will follow this asymptote, similarly other poles will follow other 2 asymptotes. So here if I draw the root locus branch using this blue color, so this will like this, this will be like this. Okay, so here you can see. So all these four poles, all these four poles will follow the asymptote and will meet at open loop 0 at infinity. So here if I say that is here k is equal to 0, at this point k is equal to 0 and at infinity k will be equal to infinity because there exists a in open loop zeros at infinity, at s is equal to infinity where k will become infinity. Okay, so this is the way to draw the root locus. Okay, so have you understood? Have you understood this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ठीक है. So this is the way to draw the root locus. So let us move to the next point. Now we have seen this case one transfer function. So in this topic, we will learn about what is the effect of adding pole in a transfer function. Okay, so we have seen this particular transfer function k upon s into s plus 2, and that this is the root locus of that. Okay, so what we have done, we just added one pole at -4 in this transfer function, and let us see what is the effect of adding that pole on this transfer function. Okay, now if you see the root locus of this particular case one transfer function, here the root locus branches are starting from open loop pole -2 and 0, and they will end at infinity. Now here you can see the location, whatever the how the closed loop pole is traversing, that all location of closed loop pole will be in the LHP only. Here root locus branches are not moving to right hand side of the plane. Okay, so we can say that this is an absolutely stable system. Even if you vary the gain of system, that is a k, from 0 to infinity, the closed loop pole will traverse in the LHP only. Okay, so the case one is an absolutely stable system. Okay, because these root locus branches are not moving into the RHP or on the imaginary axis. Okay, so this root locus branches is lying in LHP only. So that is an absolutely stable system. So if we add a pole at -4 into this transfer function, we will see what is the effect of adding the pole on stability of the system. Okay, so here we have added the pole at -4. So let us draw the root locus for this, and let us see how the root locus will get changed when we add pole at -4. Okay, so this is the rule number 2. So this is the rule number 2. Number of branches terminating at infinity will be, so here there are 3 poles and no zeros, so that will be 3. So angle of asymptotes, so angle of asymptotes will be, there will be 3 asymptotes, right, at 60 degree, 180 degree and 300 degree. Okay, and if we found the centroid will be -2, and if we found the breakpoint, we will get 2 breakpoints. Okay, so -2 plus or minus square root of 4/3. So we just found that the root locus branch, so there are 2 real root locus branches between -2 to 0 and after -4. Okay, so this point -2 plus square root of 4/3 exists on the root locus, so that is a valid breakpoint. Okay, so we form the angle of asymptotes breakpoint centroid. Okay, so we just draw the root locus for this. So here you can see the asymptotes are starting from -2. So this color you are seeing now, that is asymptotes. Okay, and root locus is shown by the orange color. Then you can see one asymptote is having the angle 180 degree, other asymptote is having 60 degree, and this asymptote is having 300 degree. Okay, and breakpoint is at centroid is at -2 and breakpoint is at -2 plus square root of 4/3, this point. Okay, this point. So here you can see there are 3 poles, one at -4, -2 and 0. So breakpoint will be between 2 poles only. Okay, so this is a breakaway point, we can say here. Here this is a breakaway point. This is a breakaway point. Okay, and so from this point the closed loop pole will leave the real axis of this plane and will move towards the open loop 0, okay, along the asymptotes. Okay, now the angle at which these two branches originate from breakpoint is equal to plus or minus 180 degree by n, where n is number of root locus branches leaving the real axis. So here angle will be 90 degree, plus or minus 90 degree. So here you can see this will be, so this will be 90 degree when that leave from the real axis, and this will be minus 90 degree. Okay, so like this way, this will these two branches will leave the real axis and will move towards the open loop zeros. Okay, so this is the root locus when we add one pole at -4 into this transfer function. Okay, so if you see that now after adding the pole at -4, root locus branches are moving into the RHP. Okay, so here they are after varying the gain k from 0 to infinity, these branches are moving into the RHP plane. So we can say that this is a conditionally stable system. Okay, this is a conditionally stable system. Why this is conditionally stable system? For a certain value of k only, the closed loop poles are lying in a LHP. Okay, when that certain value get crossed, so what is that certain value? So value at this point. Oh, just Control Z. So that is the value at this point. So that value is k marginal, right? Or k max. So for value of k between 0 to k max, the system will be stable. Then when value of k is greater than k max, system will be unstable. So this system become conditionally stable system after adding the pole. So what conclusion we can draw here? If you add a pole into the transfer function, what will happen? The system stability is decreases. So what is the conclusion? So conclusion I can write here. After adding pole, in transfer function, system stability decreases. Okay, so we have seen this effect of adding pole. Let us see the effect of adding 0. Okay, now the same this transfer function we will take case 2 transfer function, and into this transfer function we will add one open loop 0. So that open loop 0 is added at -1 because we have added the term s plus 1. Okay, so that open loop 0 is added at -1. So here that is at this point. So at this, okay, here that is open loop pole. Okay, so if you add open loop pole at -1, Now the previously the root locus of that particular transfer function is like this, right? What happened to mouse? Okay, the previous root locus of that particular transfer function is like this. Okay, when you add 0 into it, the finite 0 into it at -1 location, so you will get a root locus like this. Okay, so here you can see that the root locus is shifted towards the left side. Okay, and by finding out angle of asymptote, centroid, breakpoint, we have finded out this root locus, and you can see that this root locus is shifted towards the right hand side. So we can say that system stability is increased, because previously system was a conditionally stable system, but when we add the open loop 0 into it, that system will become totally stable. Okay, so stability of system is increased after adding the open loop 0 into the transfer function. So conclusion here you can draw is system stability increases, right? Now, in this root locus branch, in this root locus, you can see that this. So here, to find out the system's marginal stability gain, this is K max, okay? Sometimes, so that this particular root locus will be a very accurate root locus, okay? If you find out the value of K max. So as we know, that is the intersection with the imaginary axis, right? When this root locus branch, this orange color root locus branch is moving into the RHP, at that time it crosses the imaginary axis. So that point the gain is K marginal or K max. Okay, so to find out that, as we know, we follow the characteristic equation, then we form the route table. So similarly, we form the characteristic equation. Okay, and just by using the route table, we have found it out the gain at that point K48. Okay, and to find out that particular frequency value, we just have used the auxiliary equation, okay, by inserting the value of K max, and we find out that the point at which this root locus branch touches the imaginary axis is plus or minus j into 2 into root 2. Okay, so this is the point. This is the point where root locus branch touches the imaginary axis. Similarly, this. So to find out that point, you just need to use route table and the characteristic equation. So that is a rule number 7, intersection of root locus branch with the imaginary axis. Okay, so you can use that. So to find out, because we have already solved that, how to find K marginal using a route table, and how to find out that frequency at which K marginal happens. Okay, so now the intersection of asymptotes with the imaginary axis. So in the previous root locus, we have seen that there is a 60, 180 and 300 degree angle of asymptotes is there. Now, if you find out where the asymptote intersect with the imaginary axis, you can just simply use these angle conditions. Okay, so P by 2 will be tan 60. So P will be 2 into tan 60. So P will be 2 into root 3. Okay, so this is the intersection of asymptote with the imaginary axis. So the formula you can directly use that plus or minus j sigma tan theta 1. Okay, so by using an angle condition, you can just find out the intersection of asymptote with the imaginary axis. Okay, as we know that if you want to find out the value of K on a root locus, we use a magnitude condition, right? Okay, so there is another method also by using you can find out the value of k. Okay, so that is just like a for example, if I want to find out the value of k at a point s1, this black point is a point s1. Okay, so what I will do, I will just do that product of distance from the poles divided by product of distance from the zeros. So here you can see there is only one zero which is at -1, and there are three poles 0, -2 and -4, and the distance from this particular S1 point to this pole is L4, L3, L2, L1, like that way. So to find out the gain k at that point, S1 point, you can just take a product of distance from the pole, that is L1 into L3 into L4 divided by L2, that is the product of distance from the zero, because only one zero is there. Okay, that is also a way to find out the value of k. Other method is magnitude condition. All of you know that. Okay. So here we just solve this example. Okay. So you know how to draw the root locus and all the methods. Okay. You can just apply that to any transfer function, and you can draw the root locus. Okay. So that example I have solved. The same I have written here. So only one rule is remaining: angle of departure and angle of arrival. Okay. So we will see that this example when I will share note with you, you can refer it. The simple example that is. Okay. This is the last rule, that is angle of departure and angle of arrival. So what is mean by angle of departure and angle of arrival? So here you can see there are two complex poles. Okay. Now when root locus branch originate from this pole, okay, so angle at which this branch of root locus depart from this complex pole is called as the angle of departure. Okay, so this is the angle of departure. Because as we know that root locus branch start from open loop pole and end at open loop zeros, right? So now if root locus branch start from complex pole, so it will start with some angle, and that angle will be called as an angle of departure. And that angle of departure is given by calculated by using this equation: 180 degree plus angle of GH at that point, okay, at positive point, okay, at this point. If I say this is point P1, this is point P2, so at P1, okay. And if you want to calculate angle at P2, so at that time angle of departure will be 180 degree minus angle of GH at P2. Okay. So like this way angle of departure is found out. Similarly, as we know that the root locus branch end at open loop 0. So if there are complex zeros, okay, the root locus branch arrive at complex 0 at some angle, and that angle is called as the angle of arrival. Okay. That angle is angle of arrival. Okay, so here you can see that may be any angle. So to calculate the angle of arrival at this point, I say Z1, Z2. So at Z1, the angle of arrival will be 180 degree minus angle of GH at Z1. Okay, so you just need to put Z1 into GH, and you need to calculate an angle, and just use this formula to calculate angle of arrival. And similarly, you can use angle of departure for using this formula. Okay, so just see at which pole you are calculating that angle of arrival or angle of departure. Okay, so that is important. So as we know, if you want to calculate the value of GH at an angle of GH at any point, you just need to put that point. Okay, suppose if I want to find out the angle of GH at -1 plus J. Now here the closed loop, the complex poles are there. So location are like this. Okay, so I will consider this point P1, and at this point I will find angle GH. Okay, and to find out the angle of departure, I will use 180 degree plus angle of GH. Okay, at this point, if I found the angle at this point P2, so to calculate the departure, angle of departure 180 degree minus angle of GH, both the same thing. Okay, only angle is changed. So I will use this point. Okay, P1 point. So I have put it S is equal to -1 plus J into GH. So here I have put it that. Now if I calculate the angle for that, angle GH is -180 degree. So what is the angle of departure here? 180 degree minus 180 degree. So angle of departure will be 0 degree. Okay. Where there exists a complex pole, at that time only angle of departure exists. If complex zeros are there, angle of arrival will be there. Okay. So, and in the graphical method, how you will calculate angle GH, instead of putting that point into GH and then calculating angle, this is a shortcut method. Okay, so here what you can do, so here there are two complex poles at -1 plus or minus J, and one at origin, and one zero is there at -2. Okay, so here you can see, so there will be three angles, one angle from this open loop 0, other two angles will be from this open loop poles, and you can just use the angle condition, and that will be, you just need to take a difference between the angle from open loop zeros to that point minus angle of open loop poles to that point. So theta 3 minus theta 2 minus theta 1. Okay, and we're just using the angle condition. I have found out theta 3, 2, and 1, and just find out that angle of departure is 0 degree, 180 degree plus angle of GH. So like this way, you can find out the angle of departure. Okay.